Good afternoon. Today I want to share a message with you, which is a little bit about isolation. Sometimes it's something that occurs like when you're in the messy middle, or it doesn't have to be in the middle. Sometimes after you arrive at the next place that you want to be, there are moments in time when physically, emotionally, sometimes from friend groups or even family, you may feel isolated, right? But as they say, isolation is the gift, right? Like all the other things are there to test your endurance, to test how much do you really want the thing that you're after? How much are you willing to walk through the fires, to keep going, to keep pursuing that dream that only you have in your heart, right? Maya Angelou says, I restore myself when I'm alone. There's others, only when you're alone can you truly know yourself, right? And aside to that isolation that I want to share with you is when you start being around people again, right, after periods of isolation, because you may physically be around people, and in particular if you're around people that you've known before in older versions of you, right? Like you didn't have as great of boundaries, or you didn't have the skills that you have now. So you walk with a different, confidence. You walk with a different air because you know your value, you know your worth, you've felt it from the inside, inherently you bring value, you add value to every room that you go in, right? To everywhere that you go. Well, there are times when that still remains uncomfortable. And it's just part of it, And the reason I share this video and this topic is because there are so many times when you're working, right? And when you're working in your laboratory, right? You're just in it, right? You go to your space because that's where you achieve your flow state. You go to your space because that's where it's sacred for you to write, or sacred for you to make videos, or sacred for you to build and really pull those ideas down from the ether, let them process through your heart, and then you prepare them to ship it back out to the world, right? And you're not alone. It's like single people. A lot of single people will say, hey, I'm not alone. I just choose to be by myself, right? And it's not a punishment. Solitude is the opposite, rather. Solitude is something that you choose for yourself and you embrace it, because in that solitude, you really get to know yourself. In that solitude, you really get to build your healthy habits, right? And a lot of times when you're growing, what you're doing is you're stacking healthy habits, and you're stacking those healthy habits into days and into weeks and into months and into years and into a lifetime, right? You're making right choices and right decisions, taking right actions, which are becoming your right character and your right personality and just your right way of living. And it's one of the most beautiful things. And sometimes it can feel a little bit like a crucible, but as they say, diamonds are formed under pressure. And some of the pressure comes from those exact moments when you're reintroducing yourself, into the world, into society. You've left your cave and now you're back. And maybe it's on days that you're teaching, or maybe it's just days that you're in the general public and you're meeting with people. And in particular, if those people are people that had known you at different versions, they want to approach you and treat you like the person that they remember. Or worse, and quite frequently an occurrence, is your energy is now so bright because when you're in that sacred solitude, you're just building. You're doing the right things, right? You're waking up with gratitude. You're exercising, keeping your body and your mind healthy. You're journaling. You're doing all these things that are super restorative. So within you, your chi, your prana, whatever you want to call it, your life force is just, you're like a locomotive, like the old steam engine when you hear it, chugga, 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 like it's starting. But that's like within you, Some people might call it your kundalini, kind of going up your vertebrae and your spine, but it's real, and it's your energy, and it's your life force, and it's all yours because you're doing that sacred work. And now when you get around other people, one of the things that happens is your energy enters the room ahead of you. And your energy and you are so rooted in that energy that when people come, a lot of people that haven't yet or are unwilling to do the work, they'll lob things at you, right? Inappropriate comments or a dirty look, or what they're doing is they're looking at you and they're looking for like a chink in the armor, and they won't find it because your natural embodiment now exudes confidence. Your natural embodiment exudes presence. You have deep presence, right? And when these people come, you're on the game like before they even arrive, right? Because it's just so weird, right? It's also so liberating, but it's also like almost like when a lion is sitting like twitching its tail or something, and the little lion cubs are like grabbing on the mama or the papa lion, and the lion is just not even bothered, right? Because those cubs, like, yeah, they got a lot of energy and a lot of force, and they're clawing and scratching and jumping all over your face. Even if you have children, you know this from when your children are young and they're climbing all over you and using you like you're a jungle gym, right? And but it's not bothering you because, I mean, that's a little different because you just love your kids so much that you kind of enjoy that presence. But at the same time, the little things are not bothering you because you're so solid, you're so rooted again. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And when the other people, co-workers or people that you're engaging with, random people even, because you'll notice their stares lingering. You'll notice them checking out your energy because there's something about you. It's that je ne sais quoi, right? It's like, you got that thing, you got the juice, you got the juice, and it's inside of you. You got the music in you, baby. You know what I mean? And it's rad. It's rad. It's such a blessing because when you're in it, you feel so strong, and you know that you're strong because you're actually, you've done the reps. You've put in the reps day after day after day after week after month, and you're stacking years of building the reps. You're doing the right thing every day. So you're just naturally solid. And again, for the ones that aren't as solid yet or haven't decided to embrace the suck and go through those periods of having to do the work and go through the uncomfortable days and uncomfortable weeks and months and years sometimes, to get to that place, it's almost like you're an irritant. When you walk into rooms, you irritate their spirit, or better, you might irritate the demons within their spirit, right? You irritate the parts of them that they're unwilling to meet. You irritate the parts of them that are now looking at you and reflecting the truth that they haven't done the work. That if it's your body, they're looking at you and they're just a little, they're upset because they know that they have the same 24 hours in the day and they could go to the gym. They could walk and get their 15,000 steps, right? They can do it. They're able-bodied, right? If it's in your career space, they're upset because, it's like sometimes people say it like, they're not upset at you, they're upset that it's you, right? And they're truly, it's even a step further. Again, they're not even upset that it's you. They're upset that it's you that's reflecting back to them their lack or their inconsistencies and their unwillingness to do the work. And it's okay. You shrug it off. You shrug it off because you know better. But the point And what I really wanted to drive home to you today is this idea that that's just another part of it. It's just another part of it. It's all part of it. And it's another one of those things that you just need to embrace and understand that this too shall pass, right? This phase of, reintroducing yourself to the world, this phase of people not knowing how to handle you, which can be, back onto you, can feel sometimes isolating, where you already understand that you've chosen solitude in these times, but you're still human. And I know a lot of you that are doing the work, and you're showing up every day, and you're showing up to make yourself better. You're showing up to be better for your families. You're showing up to be the leader that you always knew that you could be. You come into this space and you're still human though. So when the world sometimes isn't ready to acknowledge the new you, the upgraded version of you, and you're always upgrading, but each time you quantum leap, you've upgraded so much that especially the familiars, they're unfamiliar with how to act around you. And again, it becomes such an irritant because most people are comfortable when, they got to treat you how they treated you when you had no boundaries, when they got to treat you how you were when you fit in the little box that they made for you, because that's comfort. And most people like to stay in their comfort zone. Obviously you, not so much. You're willing to break through. You're willing to meet the demand where it is and exceed it. You're willing to, take the extra classes. You're willing to read the extra books. You're willing to ask the difficult questions that, in a lot of meetings and organizations, people don't like those. And sometimes you ask those questions and then all of a sudden you have a target on you. But it's, hey, sorry, I know that if we want to get from here to there, we need to answer these difficult questions. And conversely, once we have the answers to these difficult questions, everything's a breeze because we just swallowed the frog, or we just, ate the elephant by taking the little bites at a time. And, it's okay. And just know that if you're feeling those things, you're probably a lot further along than you believe you are. If you're feeling those things, you're probably really close to your next breakthrough, because what's really happening is those people recognize in you that you've already broken through. You've already broken free of your programming. You've already broken free from the limitations that they have for themselves, and many people have for and of themselves and projected upon them. You've broken beyond that, matrix of reality, so to speak. You've now entered a space where you are co-creating, right? And you've always been co-creating, right? But you are co-creating with more awareness, right? You're more consciously aware of your decisions, your actions, the steps you're going to take. You are rooted in your routines. You have systems in place, right? For a while, you just worked and you wondered why the work wasn't working for you, right? And it truly was. Like when you're in the gym and, the first few weeks you're putting in the reps and you're wondering, hey, how come I'm not getting this much stronger yet, right? And then you go another few months and you're getting stronger. Then you go another few months and you reach a plateau and you're like, oh, why can't I, get to this next level? But also different days you wake up and you take a shower and you feel in your body and you're like, hey, dang, I'm really there, right? And it's exciting again. And now when you're in the company of other people, these other people from day one, they've seen your growth, right? Because many of them have chosen to remain where they are, right? And this is another one of those things along the lines of also, sometimes it's important for you as somebody that is a hard worker, right? Somebody that is dedicated, somebody that shows up for themselves. You're constantly setting the bar so high that you're the last one to see, because since you're constantly raising the bar, you're always looking like up there and you're judging yourself and comparing yourself of where you can be, which is way up there. But the reality is, you got to remind yourself that you may have started here or here or low, way low, right? And you got to remind yourself that, like, when you climb a mountain, right? Say you go hiking in the Alpine hills, right? You're in Utah, you're in Colorado, you're in somewhere where there's a nice mountain, right? 10,000, 14,000 feet. When you're climbing up the hill, you're facing the mountain, you know what I mean? You're facing rocks and the dirt and the stuff in front of you. That's what you're looking at. Yeah, you see some trees and stuff, and as you gain elevation, you recognize that the trees are different. You recognize you might see a different animal. Now there's a pika pika making a noise, and you're like, hey, okay, we're up there now, right? Well, the good thing is when you turn around, and now you have perspective, because now you have that elevated view. You have that 14,000 foot view where you can see the entire valley in front of you. And you can see, wow, this 3 hours has really taken me from there to here. I'm in that rarefied air now. And that's why it's so enjoyable to get to that alpine lake and relax now and just enjoy the wildflowers and the cool, crisp air that's up here. And when you're journeying and when you're putting in those a long summer of work, or that you feel like you're in the dog days of summer, or you feel like maybe you even feel like you're in the doldrums, right? Like you're feeling like there's not much movement. Well, the fact is there's only not much movement because you've earned stillness. You've worked so much and so diligently and so consistently for so many days that you get to play slower now. Or how they say sometimes for athletes when they go from like a collegiate athlete to the pro level, at the beginning they say the game is so fast, right? But then after a while, now you're used to putting in reps with this new level, this new class of talent, this new level of competitors that also are consistent in putting in the work, lifting the weights, going for the extra runs, right? Operating outside of the games, like in the business arena and all of this. And when you're building, oftentimes what you're really building is you're buying back your time. You're buying back time freedom. And just similarly, when you've climbed that mountain, you've kind of in a way bought back time, because now you get to relish in the stillness of this beauty. And this is why on the days that you're not hiking and climbing these heights, or if you go skiing or something, it's very similar, right? You get to this top, you get to this new perspective, you get to this place where you get to enjoy the view and you get to enjoy your present moment up here. And when you're enjoying that moment up there, that's often the moments that you're reflecting back on and looking at on the days that you're really just nose to the grindstone, putting in that work. You're like, I need to get back to the mountains, right? Like I need to get back to my place where I can relax and just enjoy, because I'm grinding every day, right? You're doing the work, right? And, but also just like the mountains or just like skiing or in these places, you have to realize that part of the appeal is that it is a little bit rare, like a percentage of the population, in the world, not just here in the States, but in the world, don't get to experience those joys, right? I have family and friends and people that I know that have physical limitations, so they won't ever know what it's like to hike and go to some of these mountainous extremes. And frankly, it's one of the things that I express gratitude every time I go, and sometimes often just in the morning when I'm waking from my slumber and going over the things to be grateful for the day. I'm thankful for my health and my legs that carry me to all these wonderful places. But you should also be thankful and grateful to yourself for the work that you're willing to do and the work that you have done, because it's that work that has brought you to these places. And if you can remind yourself of that from time to time, I know for sure that you will just live a little easier. You'll walk a little lighter. And then when you do walk lighter, it's easier to remind yourself that, like, that's already, by the way, like earlier when I mentioned, like, you can peep game coming, and you can tell when these people are coming with the snide comment or something, because you're so beyond that. Like, you don't even, it's like, I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you. You know, you're really like that, because you just understand that you're here for the time that we're here, and this place is special. And the more good work you do, the more special places you get to go, the more special experiences you get to have, the more special people with regulated nervous systems, emotional intelligence, compassion you get to constantly be in the presence of, the more miracles you get to see. It's really like that, and it's really special. And you don't take it for granted. You appreciate it every moment, every day. You appreciate it because it's so beautiful. And it's almost like when they say of the world, but not in the world, right? Because day to day, a lot of life happens in the world, you know, in the matrix of other people's systems and realities and understandings, right? And you know how you say people can only meet you as deep and with as much truth as they've met themselves. Well, when these people come to you with something that's less than pure, less than compassionate, less than beautiful, you kind of shrug it off, or you try to reflect and be as much compassion and be as compassionate as you can be for them, because they also may not get to experience energy like yours, except for in those moments when you're around. And that's another part of it. That's also part of why some of them stick and linger, you know, where they want to attach to your energy, is because deep within they have a knowing that there's something about this one. There's something about you that every time you're around, they feel better just for your presence. And when you are able to understand and hold on to that, that is so beautiful that in itself becomes a reward, or the reward of not stepping out of your character and responding with the authenticity that you know is you and your reality, and you're rooted in your ability to stay present and your ability to stay kind. And that'll get you through any period of physical, societal, community isolation, or feelings of being isolated, because you remind yourself that you chose this solitude to grow. They also say, you know, you got to separate to elevate, just like skiing or just like going to the mountain. Everyone's driving in the city. Only a few choose to drive up the mountain that extra couple hours, right? So that's a separation from the masses of people that are just staying in here. And just as many as bought lift tickets decided to get the ticket and take the ride and go up here. When you're hiking, it's the same. And it doesn't have to just be up there, because up there is also like between your ears, you know. You know, back in town, even if you're just doing a couch to 5K, right? Like you're just getting started and you are excited to go run 3 miles, you still have bought that ticket and you're taking the ride, so to speak, where only the people that are participating on that day, by the way, you got up at 7:30, 8 a.m. You know, that's when the starting blocks go, and that's when you begin your run. There's only a few hundred people that show up for that. You get your participation medal. You get the joy of high fives and smiling with all the other people, seeing the outfits that they wore for the day of the run. So wherever you are, you already decided to make that leap, to take that step, to go the extra mile. Relish in that, because every time, and this happens over and over and over, but until you fully get from where you were to your next arrival, you're in that middle ground, you're in that middle space where you randomly kind of become an outsider, because you've become an outsider to the status quo. You've become an outsider to doing things just as everybody's doing them. You've become an outsider to just showing up, when if you're gonna show up, you might as well go all out. If you're gonna show up, you might as well bring your best. So just know, if you're on those days, to remind yourself that, one, you chose those days. Two, you might be the blessing for others in those days. Three, you're so much closer to arriving at your next quantum leap than you may believe. And as soon as you arrive to that next place, that next destination, you will have a celebratory new set of awakening within, where you appreciate, just like when you get to that alpine lake at the top of a mountain, and now you get to rest your weary legs, and you get to take a dip in the cold lake, or you get to lay out in the sun of a field of wildflowers. You get to have the rarer experience of seeing a moose up close, or whatever it is. And I just want you to take that, because I want you to remind yourself how far you've come, and remind yourself how great you're doing, and remind yourself of all the places you were before on the days that you dreamed of these days, because you're living those dreams. And that's it. And I know that you're a hard worker. I know you're somebody that is able to deeply focus. I know you're somebody that's able to put aside the, easy saccharine sweetness of, the candy bar, or the little thing, right? You eat clean. You show up. You log the hours. You do the work, right? You're not wasting it on the cheap thrills anymore, right? You're dedicated, and occasionally part of that dedication and part of that devotion leaves you in places where you feel potentially like you're missing out, but you're not missing out. You've just decided for yourself to do better, to be better, to embody what you've always known that you could be. And there's truly nothing better than that, because as each of us shine, we give permission to the others to shine. And